Hello and welcome to App Talks. My name is Clayelle Wolf and I'm the director of the AppExchange Marketing Program. App Talks is a series of conversations with Salesforce customers about how they're using solutions from AppExchange to solve business challenges. Today, I'm joined by a team from SmarterHQ, a behavioral marketing platform, to learn about how TaskRay has helped them solve a whole host of project management and onboarding solutions. Welcome to App Talks. Thank you. So we all can get to know you. Could you briefly introduce yourselves and explain what you do?
Yeah, I'm Steven Tracy. I'm the Director of Campaign Services at SmarterHQ. And what my team does is integrate our clients' campaigns with our platform so that they can deliver personalized content.
I'm Anita Donnelly. I'm Director of Technical Services. So my team is comprised of client support, implementations and onboarding, and project management.
And I'm Asa Kelly. I'm the Director of Business Operations. I'm responsible for our end-to-end business operations to make sure that we've got the appropriate processes and tools and systems set up. And as a part of that, I do our Salesforce administration as well.
And since we're talking with you, Asa, could you explain just a little bit more about what SmarterHQ does?
Sure, yeah, we're a behavioral marketing platform. So what we do is we bring in our clients' web behavioral data. You know, what are their customers actually doing on their website? What products or categories are they interacting with? We marry that up with any other kind of data that our clients might have on them, whether it's CRM data or loyalty data, and then we use our platform to activate that data and trigger off real-time, personal marketing campaigns across offline and online channels.
Awesome. Between the three of you, we have everything covered that a client would ever need.
That's pretty true.
So take me back in time a little bit. What was running a business like before finding TaskRay?
It was a dark time for us.
But you're smiling now, so we all know there's hope.
Yeah, it was a lot of individualized documents and sheets and conversations and emails and a bunch of different things flowing in a haphazard way that didn't allow us to really get an overview of what everybody was doing and really having any insight into how long projects took, what project dependencies were, anything that would go into an overall kind of larger view just didn't really exist. It was very individualized and very, this is my personal file or my personal thing.
Right. So you didn't have what you needed.
No, we were using competing documents and interests to try and run an entire process set from contract signature to client deliverables. It was tough. So.
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
Competing documents are not a way to.
Depending on whose note-taking skills are better. I mean, it was bad. So.
Then when I came about a year and a half ago, I was working with the implementation team, and everything was in Google Docs. So it was really hard to figure out what everybody was supposed to be doing and where they were in that process, because it's a pretty lengthy onboarding process. And to try to do that and then be able to tell people when the next project can be started or completed, it was really hard. I just was like, I need to see all of the projects at once. Because not only do they do the initial onboarding, but they have a bunch of other smaller projects that are going on at the same time, and I just couldn't see it. So I went to Asa and said, help me. I need to find something that will allow us to be able to see everything that's going on.
So you get your buy-in, one might say the hardest part. Mm-hmm. So in case there are any folks watching that might be thinking about kicking off a similar search for a project management onboarding solution, how did that search look for you, or what could they expect?
Sure. We gathered about 5 to 10 different tools that said that they were going to be able to do what we needed to do. We would have some conversations with them. We narrowed it down to like the top 3 and actually did trials with them to try to put our processes in there and see if it would work. And through that whole process, it was about 6 months.
Yeah, it's 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, 3 to 6 month process. We came out at the other end with TaskRay being able to do everything that each of our teams needed to be able to do.
Which is important.
Yes.
Not just one specific function, but everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's also, as a part of that too, we also wanted something that could expand beyond, the 2 or 3 teams that we were using. We wanted something that was robust enough that we wanted to pull in marketing or development team or DevOps or product into it at a later date that we could.
Right.
So we wanted a tool that was really robust, that would grow as we grew as a company.
and not be doing another search in 2 years.
Exactly.
No.
Right.
Yes.
Which we've had to do that a time or two.
Yeah, I mean,
So we didn't want to do that again.
yeah, for sure.
So ultimately, if you had to distill it down, what made TaskRay the perfect fit?
We had tried a bunch of different solutions for a variety of different business needs, and all of them were separate. They weren't able to talk to each other in the way that we needed, and we weren't able to get the full picture view of the business. It was sort of, this team's thing is this, and this team's thing is this. We didn't have a consistent communication chain across it, and we also weren't able to have visibility into the actual business impact. It was sort of plugging this in with this is giving us a guesstimate of what we needed versus an actual hard data point that we could say this is what we should or should not be doing. And that was really important.
Yeah, being built on the Salesforce platform was huge. We already used a lot of Salesforce reporting and dashboards, and because TaskRay is built on Salesforce, I mean, it's really easy for them once they're actually up and using it and their teams are up and using it. It's really easy to build reports that let them know what's going on. I mean, there was what's going on with their teams, what's going on with their workload, with their capacity. I mean, I know for Steven's team, there was they had consistent issues just staying synchronized with some of the other parts of the organization about like what projects were being worked on at a given time, which sounds like such an easy thing to keep track of, but before we had all the data in one place, it wasn't. So, I mean, Steven would probably spend 2 or 3 weeks putting together one schedule for a 2-week sprint.
Yeah.
And after we implemented TaskRay, it's maybe a 30-minute or hour exercise every week. So
If that. I mean, it's become more of a daily process for me than a long formalized, let me look and see and really plan. I mean, it's sort of an ongoing flow, and it allows me to have a snapshot view of things that are coming months in advance in a way that I didn't before, and really understand, from contract signature to actual client deliverable, every step and how that'll impact what we're doing, and just a really smooth handoff process, as well as understanding, the financial impact to every aspect of the business rather than just the individualized workload of members of my team. So that's been the huge gain for us.
we actually got a view now into our customers that we've never had before. We've been doing, because of TaskRay and a couple other things, but TaskRay is a big part of it. Because of that and because we have tracking at the individual project and client level now, we've been able to run client level margin analysis. So we actually know which of our clients are more or less profitable and why. So we can really dig in and understand more about our clients than we ever could before, just because we're able to track the work effort for each of those clients. So we can dig in and understand, like, why is this client actually taking us more effort to implement or to service on an ongoing basis or to support on an ongoing basis. And that's not visibility that we ever had before. So.
I don't know anyone who wouldn't want that view of margin. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's
pretty
great.
eye-opening.
Yeah, it is.
So it's the right tool because it truly made things easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Much more so.
much more so.
So you make your decision, you're ready to get going. What are some things you thought about or did to ensure that once TaskRay was up and running, it was really successful?
We sat down and mapped out really what we wanted the process to look like. And so when we did our trial with TaskRay, we built it out as though this was going to be it, to make sure that it really fit and to make sure that it really would work with everything that we wanted to do. So we built templates during our trial to try them out. We had our team specifically, because we're in it probably the most, adopt it. And we did a little dual work for a while just to make sure that it would work in that process. And I think through there, we knew that we had the right solution.
We met and talked about it constantly as we were rolling it out. It was the kind of thing where, it became such a part of our daily conversation, and we evaluated everything that we were doing by implementing TaskRay and looked at all of our processes and said, do we still need this part? Should we take this part? Is this really how long it takes? And it sort of forced us to really evaluate the entire scope of work from contract signature to client delivery in a way that I don't think we would have without implementing TaskRay, because again, it was linked into Salesforce. So literally every step of the process, we were able to look at it and say, is this the right deliverable? Is this the right asset for this inside of our system? How long should this take? What do we need to do to shorten that? Are we doubling up work? All of it. And I think that was really key. But we met and talked about it incessantly. It was a lot.
We still do.
Yeah,
we still come up with ideas of, hey, if it could do this, then we'd be a little bit more efficient. For example, we were manually inputting like go live dates for different parts of the process. Right. And talked with Asa and said, hey, how can we do that from the steps that they're normally doing in TaskRay? How can we make that automatically say what that date is? And we were able to do that. So we still do that. We still meet every other week to talk about what it is and what else we might want to do with it.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a great thing to have to think about something totally end-to-end, truly end-to-end, and to have a tool that almost forces you to do that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of positive impact. What are some other ways your day-to-day has changed because of TaskRay now that you're on the other side?
Oh man, it's.
You're smiling for once.
I mean, it's one. I'm continuously saying I won't work for this company any longer if we were to ever get rid of TaskRay because it's changed my life. And it's I'm here for the app talks, and I feel like this seems paid and staged, but it is true. Because the level of predictability and insight that I have as a result of utilizing TaskRay in my day-to-day workflow in terms of what my team capacity needs to be, what sort of challenges we're facing from a technical standpoint, or even understanding simply what the clients have purchased and whether or not we're delivering as expected on that is all kind of new. I mean, I had an instinctual sort of, I know this is about this, or I think that we're doing well here, but maybe not so well here. And now I have quantifiable data that shows me whether we are or are not. It's funny because as we were coming here this morning, I received from one of our clients their marketing calendar for the next 7 months, and I plotted in every project I had for them scheduled out in advance all the way through the end of July or something like that, which is not something I could do before. And I literally know the capacity that I need for the next 6 months for my team in order to execute on their list of projects. So that kind of stuff is really the biggest gain that we've had, I would say.
I would add on to that too, from a controls perspective, because it's built into Salesforce and we have that much more control over the business process. We're able to make sure that we're not working on projects that we shouldn't work on.
Right.
I mean, they'll tell you that before TaskRay, we would just work on a project whether we should have or not. You know, there were things that there were things that we did for our clients sometimes that were maybe marginally useful for the clients that took us a ton of effort because we never bothered to stop and ask, like, should we be doing this? Like, is it the right thing to do for the client? And also, is it the right thing to do for us?
Right.
So being able to build the business process into how we use TaskRay let us really make that decision ahead of time. Like, is this a project that we want to do? Yes, and then go ahead and do it. So we've been able to save a ton of time for their team's capacity. You know, we haven't had to hire as many people as we thought we might have to hire. We've been able to do more projects and do more work with the same number of people. So it's made us a more efficient organization on the whole.
No question.
I think it's de-stressed a lot of things that happen during implementations as well.
With other tools.
Yeah.
With and even internally, because an implementation takes so many different teams, and it would get a little stressful because maybe we forgot that they had purchased one thing or and that just didn't get implemented quickly enough. Now we can see that, and we track like delay reasons for different areas. And so we can know early on, we're delayed for this reason, and keep that using the chatter and things like that, keep everybody informed much better than a ton of Slack messages or emails going out, and you might forget somebody because it's automatically going to the team that's on that project. So it just makes it a whole lot easier, and everybody's aware, and nobody's stressing out at the very end that there's still some things to do that got missed. So
I would say we're a lot more predictable in our delivery dates as well, and understanding that, you know, if there's issues, say, with contract signature, we can't start until a certain time because of like client dependencies. We have all of that mapped out with automated processes and TaskRay that just give us dates. And so we know literally from the day that we start the work till the day that we finish the work what the calendar will look like for that client. And then when we're having those client interactions, we can say it'll be the 9th or whatever day it is and actually deliver on that. Whereas before it'd be more of a ballpark. Like somewhere in this week, you know, or maybe the week after, you know, like we're hoping. But now right now we're on track 4. And even when we're signing new clients and we're able to plan and predict, since her team and my team really work together in terms of a handoff, TaskRay has just eliminated a lot of the barriers that were in that handoff process from the technical to the more creative and campaign launch side. And that was a huge part of us gaining efficiencies and onboarding and just our processes in general. for sure.
It sounds like it built a confidence muscle
Yeah.
It did.
in
Yes.
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
start to finish that's client-facing, which is really important. So not an exaggeration to say that post-TaskRay implementation, it is run your business in a totally different way.
Yes, totally different way.
And we've been able to take times down from, an average of over 100 days to our most recent ones have been in under 50.
Wow.
For full implementation.
Over half, wow.
Because we've got it all set. We've got all the checks and balances in place to make it go smoothly. So it's been great.
And even, I think, an auxiliary thing is that we're able to come to each other with questions a lot easier too, because we have the full scope of knowledge of what's happening in terms of the other moving parts that make it all happen. And that's not just for implementations, that's for any project that we have, ongoing and recurring. And, if we have a client that's, for example, like using services that they've purchased, we're able to evenly track, okay, they have 5 or 6 left. We can let them know ahead of time and talk about that conversation with them as we're either working on a renewal or potential to buy more services as they're running out, or whatever their individual client needs are. We have that visibility as we're able to do the technical work too, which is a huge piece of it for our client success team, that they're able to really have a view of how is the client using our platform, what are they using in terms of what they've purchased versus what they still have outstanding, and it allows them to taper their conversations in a way they didn't before.
So one thing we like to do on App Talks is share some advice. So if each of you had a piece of advice for another business that was looking to go through a similar transformation, Asa, we'll start with you. What would you tell them? Heart to heart.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say don't be afraid to start totally from scratch. If a process isn't working, or there's a tool that's not working, or there's if there's a really critical piece of your business that's not working, don't be afraid to start over. I mean, take as much time as you possibly can to make sure that the solution that you're building and the tools that you're choosing and the processes that you're setting up are ones that are gonna be robust and stand the test of time, and ones that you can tweak after you get them implemented to make it work. And that's the great thing about Salesforce and TaskRay, is that it's so robust. You can do whatever you need to on it. It's just a matter of figuring out what you need. So
that should be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. It's just a matter of figuring out what you need. I love that.
Yes. I think my piece of advice would be truly take that trial that you can get with different products and put your processes into it. A lot of people, I think, just during a trial, they click around and try and see, hey, what's this button do? What's that button do?
Hypothetically, what could I do?
Exactly.
Right.
Instead of truly putting your processes into that trial, I think that is one of the things that helped us know this really was going to be what worked best for us. The others that we tried to, put our process in just didn't cut it the same way.
My advice would be to really kind of stand your ground as you're working on it, because it's going to be hard at points. And I think that the success we've had has been through a lot of evaluation and a lot of discussion and having some uncomfortable realizations about the things we were doing, I think was really important. This is not an effective process. And TaskRay exposed a lot of that for us as we were setting it up. But also really, it allowed us to look at those things and just say that this one's cast off or not, despite what we've always done, or this is a process that we feel really attached to. Just getting rid of some of that, and then getting the team buy-in, which was really key, and just making them understand that their use of it is important because it really will impact the business in a positive way. And those were the things that I think we really focused on as we went through it.
Great. Thank you again for joining us today. This has been a really fun conversation, and we're so happy to have you here in our studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And for those of you tuning in online, thank you for watching App Talks, and we'll see you next time.